I'm very happy to present you Bruce, and he's really a tough guy, isn't he? I want to welcome him with an applause. Please welcome him with me, and thank you. Thank you, Bruce. I know you since some time now. Yeah,
I think probably almost 3 years now.
3 years, yeah. And but I'm behaving right now as if I wouldn't know you. Yeah. So I know nothing because I'm phenomenologist.
Right.
And,
right.
And you have to tell me whatever is important. Yeah.
I expect you know slightly more than me.
Maybe. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, or would you?
Well, just very briefly.
You are Bruce.
I'm Bruce.
And this is enough.
I'm from Brantford, Ontario, and I'm currently a family therapist on Vancouver Island.
Uh-huh. So.
And I take this as an opportunity to talk to you about something that's haunted me for most of my life. So it's a very great opportunity for me.
Yeah. Do you have any expectation about this talk? What should happen, or what would make you happy? Expectation, yeah. Or is it good just to talk about it?
I think at this stage it would be good just to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I always hope in the end that I'll have some understanding, and that through that understanding I'll be able to make better decisions in my life. But for now, just to talk is good.
Okay. Thank you for your openness. So that
my pleasure.
Things may happen now through our dialogue. Well, so we can start? You are
we
ready?
Can, absolutely.
We can. You were already saying something very important. You were saying you would like to talk, to take this opportunity to talk. You take it as an opportunity.
Yes, I do.
Thank you. To talk about something which was bothering you for most of your life.
I would say from my earliest memory, yes.
From your earliest memory.
Yeah.
So this is a very long issue up to now. So I don't want to make you too old, but
yes, this issue is much older than a number of people in this room, and not as old as others.
Okay. Let us try to catch it.
Okay.
To see what it is. Yeah. Can you inform us, or me, and I know when we talk, on the first place, for me, is you as a person, and whatever may not enter here or not be appropriate to talk about in front of other people, we put it aside, and you are always free to stop or to say or to have it for yourself.
Thank you.
And your privacy is on the first place, and your protection. Yeah. But whatever you feel free, or what you think you can share with us, because it is maybe so human, or it is known by many other people, or it is okay with you that you just share. It's fine for me.
I think in some ways this is something that I oftentimes think that I've got a handle on, that I understand, that I've made sense of. And then something will happen like this afternoon, and you will ask a question, or someone will ask a question of me, but this afternoon's question was specific about acceptance. And have we ever felt accepted? What was that feeling like to be accepted? And were there significant people in our lives who, from whom we did not feel that acceptance or receive that acceptance? And, you know, as you spoke, I started to go very deep within myself, and I had that that sort of forlorn image of a little boy, all alone, feeling alien, feeling not a part of, and absolutely believing that he was not acceptable. And I mean, I've got the well-worn story of being adopted, and then being adopted into a home where there was no love demonstrated, no love shown, and later discovered there really was no love. Having had an opportunity to read my mom's journal, my adoptive mom's journal, I found, the stuff that I knew as a kid on some level, on that gut level, was quite accurate, because she wrote in a journal, why can't I ever love this little boy? So I think that's the thing that has resonated with me the longest. And for many years has affected my capacity to be attached to this world.
So this is, a very deep experience and a very deep perception in your life. And a very painful experience. Was it painful for you?
It's interesting. Yes. More quizzical, I think. Like, the dog with the head, kind of the puppy looking like that. It didn't quite make sense to me. I couldn't understand. So I would, I was the kid who came home with the best marks in school. I was the top athlete in school all the way through. And there was just it was never enough. Never seemed to matter. From my mom. Now, of course, with sort of adult retrospection, I can go back and see that might have been available from my dad, but I was too busy chasing it from my mom. And I think that sort of fundamental feeling of not being accepted, then questioning whether or not I was acceptable, and that's not really even the right word here. The right word is lovable. Really, really impacted how I lived my life for a number of years. Because I spent 17, 18 years deep in addiction, and screwed up a lot of my life and a lot of the lives around me.
Listening to you, you know the focus from where this critical experience in your life came up. You did not get the love of your mother. You could have the love of your father, but you were chasing the love of your mother. And you were looking up and looking after this love and didn't find it. And this was really impacting your life through many, many years. And if it is that way, it may be helpful if we look closer to your relationship with your mother. Or do you have another idea that something else could be important? I understood that it is focused on your relationship to your mother.
Absolutely. In many ways, I think it was because there was something about my mom that I just so much respected. She was a survivor of the Depression, survivor of the Second World War. She was in a sanatorium for a year with tuberculosis, survivor of cancer, radical hysterectomy. There's just so much that I valued in her. She was very, very bright. And I devalued my dad at the same time. I mean, he was a hard-working milkman, a singer, a laugher, a joker, not a deep thinker at all. And so it was my mom that I always seemed to want to get approval from and to want to have recognition from, and did not find it available. So I think that what ended up happening for me is through my life, I then began a pattern, a really negative self-defeating pattern, not only through addiction, but also through charm, through sort of a willfulness to have someone love me so that I could see what that felt like. And then when they couldn't do that, to my satisfaction, I'd walk away. So it's almost like I set them up for failure as I went along. And so,
so you evidently, you were looking after this experience of being loved, this lack of this primal experience of being loved by your mom. You were looking after it with other persons. And you were saying that, one thing which is striking me is this difference you made between your father and your mother. You were not estimating so much your father, but you were very highly estimating your mother. So the love, your mother's love, was more important for you than your father's love.
yes.
Was this by the difference of estimation you had for father and mother, or was it something else? I'm just asking why you had an offer of love which you didn't accept, and you were looking for the other love which you didn't get. And why was this the case? How did it happen?
And some people would say it's temperamental, that if there's something very difficult, that's what I'll go for. And if it's impossible, that's what I'll go for.
Is this something which is typically for you?
Seems to be. If there's a hard way to learn something, I learn it. I tended to learn it the hard way,
Yeah. But this may also be an effect of this primal experience. So we are not sure about it.
No.
It may be that way, but it's also good to see it in an open way, that it can be differently also. You were looking after the love of your mother. Why was it so important for you, and more important than the love of your father?
Because I spent so much more time with her. I don't know, maybe because I'm actually thinking along about this in this way for the first time. Maybe because she was sick so often and she could be gone at any time. And I think that, if I was looking for a theme, that might be the theme. That person could be gone at any time. Obviously my biological mother wasn't there, she was gone. My adoptive mom was fairly sick, distanced herself from me. I think, you know what, I think I just wanted to, as silly as it sounds, I think I wanted to put my head in a lap. To just put my head someplace and know that it would be okay. And that was never, ever available.
So it was not only that you had a higher respect for your mother, it was her presence, you spent much more time with her. The danger to lose her again, and a second time to lose a mother because she was so sick. She could go and die.
Or could just go.
Or just go.
So the recurrent dream for probably 8 years, the recurrent dream would be that from the ages of 5 probably to 13, I would come home to 79 Brighton Ave in Brantford, Ontario. I would open the door and my parents would be there, and I would know they weren't my parents. They would look like them, but I would know they weren't them. I'd go up the stairs, I'd flick the light, and the light wouldn't go on, and then I would know I was in for a horrible night. That these imposters would hurt me in some way, which never happened in reality.
Sorry, I didn't catch it. You go up, you switch your light.
But it wouldn't go on.
It wouldn't go on, and then?
And then the people that looked like my parents would come up and hurt me.
And hurt you.
And I'd know, I still remember the dream. I'd know as soon as I went to the door and I opened the screen door and they were there smiling, I'd know that they weren't really my parents.
So this dream, what was it telling you? How did you understand it?
That I was all alone in the world.
You were all alone?
Yeah. Never safe.
Never safe?
Never safe.
What did it tell you about your parents?
They were fake. They weren't real.
They are not my real parents.
They're not my real parents.
And what is this dream telling you about yourself?
I think it told me what I always knew. I had to take care of me. Because there was no place to fall back to.
But if you take the picture and less the reflections on it, if you take it as the picture, the dream's picture shows you, you come home, you see people who look like your parents, you see fake parents. And what are you doing?
I'm just looking up at them, and I'm basically there's this little piece of me that hopes that they're going to be real, but I know, right? I know this dream. I know that they're not real.
It's amazing. You had such a deep, clear knowledge. You knew, even in the dream, they're not my real parents. And this was accompanying your existence up to the dreams. And then what you are doing? You are looking at them, knowing what you see. Already knowing in advance what you are seeing again. And then what you are doing in that dream.
I go away. I walk away from...
You go up in your room.
Where I spent a lot of time in real life.
You spent a lot of time.
In real life, yeah.
So you left your parents, you went up into your privacy, in your room. And what happens?
I end up not even being safe there. I mean, what happens was, I had night terrors as well, and so the only way I could get rid of the night terrors was the light. So just imagine dreaming where the only thing that keeps you safe, you can't activate. And that was the scariest part of the dream, actually. Not that the fake parents were going to come up and hurt me, but that the light wouldn't go on, because the light signified something for me, safety, something.
What else? So you go up into your room and you try to switch on the light. You switch on the light. But light
doesn't come on. And then there's an overwhelming feeling of dread. I can still feel it.
Of dread.
Of dread. Like, here we go.
I remain in the dark. This is dreadful. And my fake parents are downstairs. And you feel that dread up to now.
Oh, I can feel it right now.
How is that feeling?
Physiologically?
Yeah, well, can you describe it?
Well, I stopped breathing about 10 minutes ago. So my breathing's shallow. I'm pretty closed. Heart's pounding. Things are getting closed in a little bit. And if it went on, I'd get aggressive.
But before you get aggressive, you feel physical movements, your heart,
Absolutely.
your breathing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Does it feel clumsy, or how is it? How do you experience this
Heavy.
dread?
Sometimes almost frozen, helpless. No, no freedom, none. No way out.
And you feel, if I continue in that feeling, it makes me aggressive. I need to destroy something or to damn.
That's what I learned to do in the dream. That's how I get out of it.
Mm-hmm. But if we look at that feeling, at that dreadful feeling now, and is it possible for you to stay a little longer with this feeling and
Absolutely.
to talk? Yeah,
Absolutely.
You can hold it and.
When I throw you into the third row, then we've gone too far.
Yeah, but I don't want that we do something which is hurting you.
No, I'm okay.
We try to detect, to be with that feeling once together. We two, I'm with you, and to be with this feeling and to work on it or to take it in a different way as before. Before, the aggression was also always the resolution, the actual resolution.
Yes.
And now, once we try to understand what this dreadful feeling wanted to say to you, to decipher this feeling. And we know from this feeling now that it means no freedom, a heavy feeling, a frozen feeling, helpless.
Yes.
Passive, you feel passive in your helplessness. Is this the correct description of this?
Yes, absolutely.
Or is there some more?
Small.
Small. I'd like to this was a starting with, I'm saying this to explain a little bit what we are doing.
Okay.
With personal existential analysis. This was entering the first step of personal existential analysis, this phenomenological method in existential. I'd like to continue in that and ask you a next question, the next little step. After looking at that feeling, what if you hold this feeling of this dreadful feeling with you, this loss of freedom, this heaviness, this helplessness, what is the impulse, the reaction which is coming up? You already described aggressive reaction as the normal reaction you had on this feeling. If you look at it now, calmly or with enough time, and hold your feeling, what impulse is coming up? What would it be what you would like to do? What is most close, the closest for you to how to behave, to react, to do whatever?
Oh, I'd like to scream help
scream
and be
help.
heard. I'd like to not have to deal with it by myself.
Not to deal with?
I would like to be able to not deal with it by myself. I'd like to have another option.
Yeah. You would like to have somebody who helps you.
Yes.
And since you didn't have that, you get so aggressive. all the time. Again, you experience in that dreadful feeling this loneliness, this. You were the only one in the world for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I feel really touched now by this image, by this dream, by this by this experience you had through so many years of your life, and which came up in your eighth year as a dream and was continuing, showing you your existential situation, being so alone. And with this dreadful feeling, you would have liked to scream for help, but you didn't even scream for help because you knew there's nobody. They're my fake parents downstairs. And if they come, they're going to hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
So this dreadful feeling was even worse than not having real parents. It was worse, as you were saying before. It was not so much bothering you that these parents were fake. It was more bothering you to have this dreadful feeling. Because in that dreadful feeling, it was like showing you or pointing to the central issue, being so alone.
Yes. And that aloneness just went on and on and on and on and on. And so, we'd win a sports championship, and I might score or throw the winning touchdown, and everybody would celebrate, and I would stand off to the side. Everybody would go one way, I'd go another way.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt, I think from then on, maybe even before that, I felt like it was me that was the alien, not the fake parents. And it was me that was here as an observer. And that as an observer, my connection to the world
mm-hmm.
was pretty tenuous.
Mm-hmm. So this cruel loneliness, I put it in that word. Is it correct for you? Cruel loneliness? For me, it looks like being cruel, brutal. How would you say?
Incomprehensible.
Incomprehensible loneliness.
It just didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. Time and again, I would cry as a little guy and say, I just want to be a good boy, whatever the hell that is. Because I thought if I could be that, then everything else would be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if cruel is the word. I just didn't get it. It just didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm. You couldn't understand this world.
No. God, no.
Was this the message you took or you got through that dreadful feeling? That you were absolutely alone.
Mm-hmm.
On and on.
Mm-hmm.
Since ever and forever.
Yes.
And this made it so dreadful, that feeling.
Yeah, because everybody else seemed to get it.
Yeah. You were the only one?
It seemed to me that everybody else got it. It seemed like everybody else was laughing and doing family stuff, and friends got each other and understood each other.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like the rest of the world was kind of got it, right? They were operating,
Mm-hmm.
and they knew what they were doing,
Mm-hmm.
and I just didn't know how to do it.
Mm-hmm. And you were saying that you did not have any kind of understanding. why it was the like?
The why? No, I didn't know the why.
Did you know at that time that you were adopted?
I always knew that. That was one of the things my adoptive parents, they told me from the very beginning. There's never a time that I don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
I always remember being adopted. I don't know the circumstances. It was a closed adoption.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any of that stuff. And of course, the interesting paradox in all of this for me is when my adoptive mother, when I was age 19, she gave me a file that would have given me the information for my biological mother. She had information in there for me. I told her to take it and burn it. Because it's not what was in the file that I wanted.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this is also for me a very difficult issue. Having that experience, these dreadful feelings, with the information in it, the phenomenological information that I am absolutely alone and have no understanding about it.
Mm-hmm.
Your mother, your father didn't tell you anything more closer that you could understand why you are so alone? Did you have any thoughts, any explanations, any understanding why your parents seem to be fake parents for you? You knew they are not the biological parents.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting because from the very beginning, my dad was a wonderful storyteller, and my dad would tell stories of Glasgow and growing up there and all the things that he did there and his buddies and the Second World War. And I always felt like I was listening to someone else's story, that I was just listening to a story, and I had no connection to it, none. I could see the connection that my uncle, his brother had, right? He got that. I could see my mom resonate with the story, but I had none. Doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the stories. They weren't about me. And of course, by the time I'm 12, I'm 6'2", cystic acne, I'm a mess, and my dad's a handsome little 5'7" guy who looks like Alan Ladd. Nothing like me. Alan Ladd, sorry, that's a bad reference for many people who wouldn't know who that was. But so part of that, of course, was the actual biology. When I came home, I wasn't coming home to anything. I looked at pictures on the wall, they didn't mean anything to me. Nobody there looked like me.
Mm-hmm. So this means, or does it mean that your existence was based on no history and no roots, and you felt it so deeply?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's ahistorical.
It's ahistorical.
It's ahistorical.
So, when your father was telling the stories about Glasgow and so on,
Mm-hmm.
This was not your family's story.
No.
So you did not have any inner relationship to it. It was funny or it was diverting, but it was not a family story for you.
No.
Was it because you didn't want to take this as a family story? Because you didn't want to have them as your parents? Do you remember? Do you have a feeling? Do you have a notion about this? Was it a kind of your resistance? Or was it more an experience that they behaved in a way that you couldn't take them as parents? Or was it the trauma that they informed you so early about your adoption?
No.
Or
I think I would rather have had nothing. I mean, I would rather have nothing in the world I would rather have had than their love and them as parents. They were good people.
But you are saying that you say that your father had a love for you.
I see that now.
Now, yeah.
I
But
didn't
why,
see it then.
why this is a question. So I think we finish at that point with the dream and say that the dream was showing your situation very dreadfully. But the central issue seems to be the story of adaptation. The adaptation was something which seemingly was not to overcome for you. You were looking after the love of parents. And up to now you know that you liked to have as the most important thing in your life a parent's love. Mm-hmm. And now you know that from the side of your father there was an offering. And from the mother, there wasn't. So you were expecting your mother's love. Was there nothing?
No. Not there was something, yes, mm-hmm. there was, my dad was there. Mm-hmm. Was there something from her? No.
Let us see a little bit about your experience with your mother. Mm-hmm. When you see her in front of you, or when you remember her, when you look back to these years, how did you feel in her presence? Again, this is the personal existential analysis in the first step to discover or describe the personal experience. How did you feel in her presence? How was it with her? Cold or warm or
cold,
entertaining?
Negative, pessimistic, almost the antithesis of me. Felt like I had to hide. But it just wasn't okay to be me. There really are no, honest to goodness, in all the time there was never a hug, never an I love you, never any physical contact. None.
Was there pain in you? Longing? Or
some. I think I shut it off pretty early.
Mm-hmm. Because you got the impression that you will never get it.
But it didn't stop me from trying. Mm. But I don't know, it almost became obstinance on my part. Mm-hmm.
Do you feel lonely? Or just
sometimes.
Cold?
Sometimes. I used to look out the window of my bedroom and watch kids playing and kind of, again, do that. Wonder what they're doing. Wonder what's going on there. I never really understood that. But I don't know how to describe this. There was also never a time when I was growing up in that isolation when I wanted to be anybody other than me. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. Just me. Exactly who I was.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's okay. You wanted to be yourself. But in the presence of your mother, it was only cold, negative, antithesis to you, pessimistic. If I put myself into your shoes, I would have the feeling like being murdered slowly. I don't know if this makes sense to you or if it corresponds to your experience, but for me, coming back every day from the kindergarten, from school and so on, or from playing from outside, or being here and eating, and having again and again this feeling of coldness and pessimistic. And I get the feeling that this is killing me inwardly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it wasn't the case for you, but for me, it would be that way.
Absolutely. That's why I left home when I was 16. I couldn't go in the door another day. So I got a job. That was the end of that.
It was like saving yourself.
Yeah.
But you have not been prepared emotionally for that life,
No.
of course. But in a way you had a wonderful feeling at the same time. I want to be me, and I'm happy as I am. This is a very strong feeling, and it is like a miracle that you had this. Although you didn't get this love, this encounter, this support, this warm protection. You had, in a way, a good relationship to yourself.
Somehow I did.
Somehow
I did.
But this nucleus of relationship was not enhanced, not widened, not fortified by the love of others. Can we say that?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
And then for years, I questioned it myself.
And then later on.
That's when I got into
Yeah.
drugs and booze. I questioned it myself because then I began to behave in ways that how could that person be lovable?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like I began to act out the prophecy. But it's also that little place inside that saved me, because that never went away. My sense of humor, my whatever it is that exists within me, never went away.
That's the inner source of your being a person, of you being a person.
Yeah.
That's that place which remained to be sane, untouched from all the outer circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
An intimacy with myself, the deepest intimacy with myself, which is the nucleus of me being a person. You are describing that beautifully. Well, talking about this, I would love to continue, because now we could work through more this feeling of loneliness in front of your mother. And of course, we detected or we described it now as something which is possibly destroying slowly your development or you, but not totally. There remained a nucleus, always something. At the beginning it was even more, but it became smaller. And we could now have a look on your action and your behavior and with it, and your dealing with it, and your understanding of it, and so on, and restore more and more your personal capacities. But we have a basis now.
Mm-hmm.
We have this basis of, we know what happened, and it was a wonder that it didn't destroy you completely. We know what happened and how it was, and that there remained something which helped you to overcome and to restore yourself many years later. This nucleus was already there and remained, and this is maybe the essence of you and the secret of a recovering of so many years of addiction, that it was possible. That there remained a in safety, a hidden nucleus. Yeah, a treasure.
I'm thankful for that.
Yeah, it is a gift. You worked on it. You were clever. You understood. You understood very well what was going on. You were saying that you, in a way, looked amazed to your parents. You knew that they are not the real parents, and you were not even really deceived by them, because you've seen that they were not capable. And so it was like living on different levels. You understood so much, but you were missing emotionally so much at the same time. But it shows that you had many capacities already as a child. When we talk like this, how is it for you?
Oh, wonderful now. I mean, I'm absolutely calm now.
You're calm now.
Yes.
What's about your dreadful feeling?
Long gone. Dialogue like this is what connects me.
Mm-hmm. Can you specify more clearly what is connecting you in such a dialogue?
Our encounter.
The encounter.
Yeah. Because for 10 minutes, it was just the two of us here.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how I know that I belong.
Mm-hmm.
It's in those moments.
Mm-hmm. And the dialogue, a real personal dialogue, has such a potential, a healing potential.
Absolutely.
Just knowing that somebody is with me and is capable to be with me without putting me in some direction, just seeing me and feeling with me and sharing his feelings with me. So I understand this as being so, powerful, helpful, and
Thank you.
yeah, thank you for your openness and sharing such an important part of your life and your suffering and your history and your overcoming suffering continuously, which is for me the most striking. And having found this nucleus, this treasure, which was there throughout the whole history of your life.
Absolutely.
And even before you have been adopted, maybe, it was there. And you were always happy being yourself.
Yes.
That's a wonder. Thank you for this.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.